I just made a big long video about why I don't think we should be using AI in education, and this person has asked very reasonably what we can use AI for. I am a researcher in the field of AI, so I feel like I can talk about this a little bit. And now I'm going to assume you're talking about generative AI. Artificial intelligence covers a huge amount of different things, including Roombas or Siri on your phone. But by generative AI, we're talking about the image generation models or the text generating ones like ChatGPT. One of the more interesting ones is data generation. In a lot of fields, it could be very important to have a lot of data to train more traditional machine learning models, and there might be a lot of issues in that data, so we could use a generative model to then make up some of the differences. One of my favorite examples of this, where I think this is actually very important work, is when we have imbalanced data sets. If I have a model that's just trying to do something like classifying galaxy data, for example, if I have a lot of data on one type of galaxy but not on another, the model will then do better on this first that we have a lot of data for, not so well on the one that's underrepresented. This can also be really important in medicine, where different demographics have different access to healthcare, which means different data sets, and that then means worse outcomes for people that already have worse access to healthcare. And so we can generate data to try and fill in this gap. This data will not be as good, there are actually a lot of issues with this, but generally it will improve accuracy. Another interesting one is data privacy, where we can put a lot of data into an AI model, which then tries to figure out a way of hiding all of that information so that we can share it without ever violating someone's rights. A lot of work still to be done on that. This is a very new field, so it means the applications are still new, and it is exciting. Another interesting one is transcription. I've heard about this a lot recently, though I know very little about how it's actually going. Basically having an AI that does a lot of the paperwork and the data entry on behalf of doctors. As I say, I'm not sure how it's going, but I think the idea is that it will fill in a lot of the things for the doctor, and then the doctor just needs to review it and make sure the information is accurate. There's a lot of work done in discovery. That's a big one. The gene folder, I think, is the one that's been making a lot of rounds. It's a common example of generative AI doing very well. It is also useful in automation, but oddly not the ways that I've ever seen any of the companies putting forward. For example, automating the production of chemicals, where it can act a little bit more creatively within certain bounds. As with all of these, a lot of safety and ethics concerns. I am limited in time, so I've just put in a few examples, but there's loads more. But I think one of the annoying things for me as a researcher in this field is none of these are the exciting things that other people are using. It seems like all anyone is actually pushing for is a way of replacing artists, which is very frustrating, but we do our best. In principle though, I don't like the current popular use of generative machine learning AI. But that doesn't mean it's a worthless technology. Anyway, if you can think of any others, let me know in the comments, or any other concerns. Maybe we'll have a good, respectful discussion. Anyway, have a lovely day. Okay, bye.